Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. And today we're going to make a pretty card. But first, I would like to remind you that we have a brand new Stampin' Positioner tool. I have ordered mine, but it is on its way, so I can't show it to you yet. If you are a current demonstrator, you can pre-order one now through February 2nd. If you are not a demonstrator, but would like to sign up to be a demonstrator, you will get one free in your starter kit if you do that during the month of February 3rd through the 2nd of March. If you are a customer and are going to just remain a customer, at some point after the 3rd of March, you will be able to order one. We just don't know an exact date when. They want to make sure they have enough for the free one to go into people's starter kits. There's all kinds of benefits to being a demonstrator, not least of which is 20 to 25% discount on everything that you order once you've signed up. So if you would like more information on that, feel free to reach out to me. And you can do that, Nancy at nancysniftynotes.com by email. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can contact me through Facebook Messenger. You can leave me a message in the comments and I will get back to you. I'd be happy to talk to you about why you want to be a demonstrator, and particularly if you're in Australia, why you want to be a demonstrator on my team. So let's get into it. Hello, Paula and Gladys. Glad you are joining me from the icy north. We are cooler today, finally, here in, well, it's not even finally, we just keep going up and down here in Melbourne. The rest of Victoria, away from the coast, is still quite hot, and lots of Australia is quite hot. Yesterday was pretty awful. But let's get into our project for today, and we can chat about that as we go. So I am once again using from the current mini catalog, the January to April mini catalog, products from this lovely and beautiful suite. You have seen me use this in several projects. In particular today I'm going to be using stamps and dies from the Simply Beautiful bundle. And I am changing up the color scheme a bit. I am using the gold, one of the gold foil pieces of designer series paper, but it's the one that's just white and gold. Here it is right here. And but I'm changing the other colors that we're using with it. I don't tend to like the petal pink that features so prominently in the designer series paper, but I'm liking it in this designer series paper. But the design I'm making today, the card design, can be used with any color scheme, so I decided to change it up. So let's take another quick look at these stamps. Really pretty line art that you can do a lot of different things with, and then 2 different kinds of dies in this bundle. The outline dies, which we'll be using today, and then also, I call them solid dies, but they cut out different but similar flower shapes that you can use to build up images, flowers and leaves, without stamping the image on them. So, and then I'm also going to be using a couple sentiments out of the Fabulous Sayings, which is the January product of the month. So with the minimum order, which here in Australia is $125, for $9 you can add on this great stamp set. I've used it a bunch and I will continue to do so. I really like it. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start with some stamping. I'm going to stamp some of these flowers. And leaves. I'm using the biggest flower. This is Secret Sea. Like I said, I'm changing up the color scheme quite a bit. So I need 2 of those. And a reminder, do say hello if you're joining me, because I can 100% see you, whichever platform you're joining me on, live or replay. I do see who has commented. And like I was saying, we had crazy high temperatures yesterday here in Melbourne. We got up to, what was it, almost 44, 45. It was about 112 Fahrenheit, which is hot. Any way you want to say it, it's hot. And then further north and west of us, up in the northwest corner of Victoria, was even hotter. Sorry, I'm trying to think, make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and think about what I'm saying. They got up to 48.9 Celsius, which is 120 Fahrenheit, that's just, I don't know why I closed that. That's just crazy. Crazy. So I went into extreme block out the heat mode yesterday, and I had, I see a little Labrador glitter on this stamp. Let's try that again. Yeah, I hung up towels over a couple of windows that get late afternoon, really strong mid to late afternoon sun, and that really helped. Once again. And then I, oh, there's the, sorry, I'm just getting a scrap here to get that off my pad. A little bit of Noah or Charlie there. And then while I have this here for my inside piece, I'm going to do this one first. I'm bringing in Petunia Pop, and that's going to be my other main color besides my Secret Sea. I'm going to put that there. There we go. That's my inside piece. That I'm going to close for now. Clean off some stamps. Yeah, so like I said, crazy temps. We're down, our high is going to be below 80, about 20, 24, 25, 26 today. Which is much better. And let's bring in the cut and emboss. Morning, Jenny. Thanks for joining me. I hope it wasn't too unpleasant at your place yesterday with the heat. There were a lot of people who lost power. I know that's the same in North America with the cold snow and ice up there. We did not lose power, fortunately. The one thing that happens when we get over about 41, 42 here is the compressor that runs our upstairs air conditioning doesn't cool anymore until it goes back down in temp. So I know that, so I plan to not have to work in my office once it hits that temperature range. And I also set the air conditioning to pre-chill everything to keep it cooler longer. And unfortunately, by the time it's bedtime, the compressor's been back on long enough that the bedroom's cooled down. And that's just because of the type of split system heat pump we've got going on. That's just how those work. I don't know why it doesn't affect the one that does the first floor. Must be where it's positioned on the roof of the garage. I'm not complaining, mind you. I would be very unhappy if both of them were out when that happened, because I get super cranky when I'm overheated. Let's see if I can get the other one on there. I hope you were able to keep your house cool, Jenny, and that today's weather is a welcome reprieve. We'll do those too. Glenn said he was teaching on campus yesterday, and he said his classroom was a bit warm, but, you know, air conditioned. It was just that by the time everybody got there and filled it up, they were warm from having, you know, commuted to campus and then just kind of beaten up in general by the heat. So he does feel that it affected his class, but not too badly. Okay, I've got one more. No, two more to cut out. I'll get there. Where is this one? There we go. And this one again. Oh no, Gladys, that sounds cold. I'm glad it was as simple as batteries that you had on hand. That could have been bad. I don't think Mom's on here yet today. I talked to her on the phone yesterday. My dad was out shoveling in shifts to not get too cold, and it wasn't slick. There was ice mixed in with some of the snow, but it wasn't like the surface was really slick, so I was glad about that, because he had a mishap one year where he slipped on ice while he was trying to clear the driveway and broke some bones, which was not fun for any of them during that time. Okay, set that aside for a moment. So there are all my die cuts, and well, almost all of them. We're gonna do another bit of stamping here. This is Secret C, and I'm gonna do a sentiment here in Versamark. And I was debating between the happy birthday and sending love, and this is the shape we're going to use to cut it out. But, whoa, so sorry everybody. Let's get that back in place, and don't know why it is. I'll just anchor that, get that lined up again. Okay, we're going to use this shape, and the happy birthday fits, but it's really tight. So I'm gonna go with the sending love. Like, see here, the happy birthday. Yeah, maybe we'll try that. Maybe we'll do both and decide which one we like, but I don't know that we have to do that. I think we'll just do the happy birthday. So I use my embossing buddy on there. It just puts a little coating of powder down. It covers up any oils from my hands, any static, which I don't believe is an issue right now, so that we don't get stray embossing powder. And then this is our white embossing powder. For those of you who haven't seen me do this before, I find it easier than dealing with the little pot and the funnel to just keep it in a little plastic container. And I use a little brush if there are still some stray bits. This isn't bad, but just because it's not cutting around close, we're doing a shape around it. I just want to make sure there's not anything too bad. And I cover that up, and I do it in this box just to help keep, you know, as careful as you are, the powder just sort of drifts everywhere, especially I've got my air conditioning up over my left shoulder here. And then my heat tool, and I'm letting it heat up for a moment, especially on colored cardstock. I find it can, if it gets overheated, it can get not just warped, but a little discolored. So if I get my heat tool heated up a lot, it just is on the cardstock less time. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's changing from sort of a dull powder into a bright, shiny, white, glossy cover. Then I'm going to hit it from the back just a little bit to help unwarp it a little bit. And that's all it takes. So I can get that out of the way and bring the cut and emboss back. Get that lined up as best I can. I'm using Post-it note correction tape. That's my favorite these days for holding things down. You can just use plain old Post-it notes. You can use washi tape, low-tack painter's tape. Whatever you use, I do recommend kind of blotting it, if you will, dabbing it on something like your clothing or your arm or something, just to, again, make that tackiness a little less. See, it pulled up just a touch of the cardstock on the outside. But not here on the inside where my And then I just leave it stuck on my cut and emboss until it's so ratty that I just can't use it anymore. So there's that. So now I think we have all of our elements. Oh, one more bit of stamping on the inside layer. So I really like that, you know, sending love, happy birthday, thank you. And then I'm going to use To a Fabulous Friend. I like that we can put that on the inside. And they have heard us. We've asked for outside, inside sentiment pairs. And they have made a couple of sets now that do that nicely. And from time to time they had before too, but we asked for them to bring it back, and they have. So now we're just down to assembly. So bring in everything now. That is going to layer on there. And here are the front layers. So we've got this gold foil on white. It will stick on a layer of Secret Sea. See, this again, the color scheme originally. Oh, I know what I haven't done yet. Okay. After we layer these up, we'll do that. Get a nice even border around. And our inside layers. So Friday and Saturday, I did that virtual card retreat. You may have seen I've been posting the cards on the blog yesterday, today, and again in 2 posts, because the next post will be this card. We did 15 cards in 2 days, and they are all different and quite stunning, I have to say. And a whole lot of fun, and I think it was worth the price. It's not cheap to buy the kit, but you get 2 stamp sets, a set of dies, a whole bunch of designer series paper, 2-tone cardstock, pre-cut, laser cut shapes that you stamp on, enough to make a whole bunch of more cards outside of the 15. You get a complete pack of basic white cardstock. You get the 15 envelopes for your cards. It's just, I think it was good value. The thing that I have not done yet is I want to add some color to these 2 flowers. So I'm going to bring in, again, my Petunia Pop and a blending brush. And I'm going to start by blending over here, because I don't want it to be an overwhelming amount of color, just some in the centers. And that may well be enough. There we go. So I'm going to lay out how I want it to be. That's going to go there. We're going to do one down here, one there, and some leaves. think I'd like that to be kind of overlapping on there, so I'm going to cut a little slit, if you will. Just a little notch out of it there. That's probably not even going to show, but and then I can slide that under, but that part kind of up a little bit. Okay, let's start building this up, shall we? Let's make that a little bit more. You don't have to do this little detail. But I think it's just kind of nice to break that plane a little bit. And I am just going to use a little dab of sticky tape and just stick that on there just a little bit. And I'm going to take that a little bit of stem off. There we go. See how I've done that? I can put a tiny little drop of glue and that will hold it on there. Those of you who've been watching for a while know what I'm doing here. I'm getting ready to pull out my press and seal. Gladys, I'm glad you liked it too. The first day I worked hard and kept up with everything. The second day I did do a little bit of pausing and rewinding, but wound up, and I thought every time I did that, I was like, it's okay. You can always skip the next card and come back and finish it later. But I never wound up having to, so I was pleased. I'll bring in some dimensionals here. If you haven't seen that trick before, that is Glad Press and Seal. It is a plastic wrap that has these sticky plastic little dots on them. I will admit I don't usually use it on food stuff because I'm not quite sure I trust those little plastic dots long term, health-wise, but I do like it for this because I can pick up, I can see where everything is. I can pick everything up, place my adhesive where I want it, and place things back and see exactly where I'm placing them, as I'll show you in just a minute here. And yes, one of the inside jokes from the retreat was, if you're not using enough dimensionals, you're not showing enough love, because things will, excuse me, collapse. Hi, Christine, how are you? Okay, so before I pull the backings off. I'm just going to double check, make sure I do still have things where I want them. And I do. So now I will pull the backings off. If you are finding them hard to lift, I find pushing down with the fingernail in the middle lifts the edge of the dimensional so that they're quick and easy to go through and pull off. Other tricks people have talked about are using the pokey end of your take your pick tool. I suppose if I had more practice with it, I would get faster with it. I find this way easier. But that's me personally. That's why we have a variety of tips and tricks. You can see I am checking, rechecking. I'm looking to be sure that everything is on the card and positioned top to bottom where I want it. If I rotate it just a slight bit, everything's on the card a little better. And now I can press it all down and pull that off. So now I just have the sentiment to add on there, like so. And I can see I'm going to need a dimensional there-ish. And the rest of it I think is going to be just glue. There we go. I like, again, that's attached to the label piece, so it is not, it's again on a different 3D plane, and because it's broken that this plane, it's more interesting. And again, these coming off that layer, again, it just, we talked a bunch about that in the retreat as well, because the person who designed all 15 cards, or the people, were some of the presenters, and they talked about the whole process and why they put some things where they did. Okay, so there's the outside, there's the inside. Let's talk about some bling. And I think I'm going to go with the Secret Sea. I had thought about the old olive, but I don't think so. I think the Secret Sea. And we're going for triangles. There we go. I like that. So there is the card. Happy birthday to a fabulous friend. So that is my project for you this week. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, I don't know if you can see the gold shining through there. I like that. I've been trying to think of what to do with this gold and white sheet, and I think that works really, really well. Yeah, I will be back same time, same place next week. I hope you'll join me for that, and I will see you then. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.